All right, future tense, basic, regular conjugations. So in class today, we talked about how to find the future tense stem. It's extremely easy to find because we do nothing or very few things to the infinitive. We're either going to leave it the exact same, like in ER and IR verbs, or we're going to drop the final E in RE verbs. This is because all of our future tense stems are going to end in the letter R. ER and IR already do. In order to make RE end in an R, all we have to do is get rid of the E. So what would be the future tense stems for déménager, to move, and for entendre, to hear? We also have to think about stem-changing verbs. So we have three main groups of stem-changing verbs, and some of those will affect the way that we form the future tense stem. So our first group is the verbs that change from a regular E to an E accent grave in the present tense. So an example of this grouping would be acheter. When we conjugate this verb into the future, we have to include that accent grave into our future tense stem, even though it's not on the infinitive itself. However, in the present tense, we only do this after it's conjugated. Here, it's part of the stem. So all you have to do is take your infinitive, find the E which is going to get the accent, and then just add it on there without changing anything else about the accent itself. Note that this doesn't actually change the pronunciation. The stem for acheter is acheter. The stem for lever is lever. The stem for amener is amener. However, it is an important spelling difference that we have to keep track of. We have the exact same issue with verbs that double the final consonant. So a great example of this is appeler. So we all know the phrase je m'appelle, tu t'appelles, il s'appelle, so on and so forth. Any verb that doubles the final consonant is also going to double in the future tense stem. Again, we don't hear the difference. The stem for appeler is appeler. The stem for jeter is jeter. It's all about that spelling. Note that both of these groups are adding something. Here we're adding an accent, or we're adding a letter. Our third group does not add, it changes. So there's already an E accent aigu, and all we do is we change the accent into an accent grave. This group, we completely ignore the fact that that change happens in the present tense, and the future tense stem remains the original infinitive. So when we add things, when we add an accent or add a letter, then we have to change the future tense stem. When we're simply changing things, when we're changing the accent, then the future tense stem forgets all about it. We don't do anything with it at all. So question 3 and 4. What would the future tense stem be for the following verbs? So we have posséder, which conjugates like préférer, and it means to possess. And we have mener, which conjugates like acheter, and it means like to lead or to guide. All right, our future tense endings. So now that we formed our stem, with the exception of the irregulars, which we'll look at next week, all we have to do is add our endings. The future tense endings are based off of the verb avoir in the present tense. The exception of this is nous and vous, which will follow the common pattern that they typically do. So our ending for je becomes a, tu becomes a, il, elle, on adds a. Nous and vous both add their typical endings, ons and ez, and il and elle goes back to the avoir with on. Yes, these go directly onto the end of the stem, just like any other regular verb conjugation. So for example, let's look at the conjugation of parler for je. So first we have to find the stem. So what was the stem for parler? It's a regular ER verb, so the stem is the infinitive. Je parlais. But that's just our stem. Now we have to add our ending. Je parlerai. I will speak. Je parlerai. So, give it a shot. For question number 5, conjugate elle and ouvrir. How would you say she will open?